Hello and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real-life stories of authors from around the world. Today, we are talking to Jean Dobson from Liverpool, who has written a book called Freedom at Last. Jean, welcome. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Good to be here, Matt.
So, Jean, you're from Liverpool, which hasn't it been called the City of Culture?
It has indeed. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what do you love most about living in Liverpool, Jean?
Oh, the vibrancy of the city, the life of the city, its history. Started as a little fishing port, the history of jugglers who were entertained on the streets of Liverpool. So there's something in our culture that is creative, that is based in the arts, really. Yeah.
And of course, famous for the Beatles.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I went to the cavern once.
Oh, wonderful. And
Yeah.
you've worked a lot of your life in administration, senior administration, and then later in life you retrained to lead church communities. So you've got quite a breadth of experience, haven't you?
I have, Matt. Actually, my life's been quite an adventure. In my heart, I've always been someone who found life an adventure. And so my whole life has been a great adventure, and so many unexpected doors open for me, things that I would never have thought I would have done.
Yeah,
Um,
like writing a book.
exactly.
So when did you first think that you might write a book, Jean?
About 11 years ago, Phil and I were pastors of a small church in Toxteth, where there was a lot of poverty. We served food to homeless people twice a week. And it was during that time, I just had a picture of people like the Lowry's matchstick people. And outside, they had very happy faces, but inside, they were very sad. And that was the prompting to write, and that I had a story to tell.
Wow, wow. We all know the Matchstick Men and cats and dogs. And that's really insightful that on the outside they look happy, but the inside they were carrying great sadness.
Yes.
Well,
And to be honest, I mean, that has been my journey, really.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you ended up on the Publish You Writing My Book course with me as your book coach. Um, yeah, what was it that you most remember about the course, Jean?
To be honest, Matt, the whole process, it's been outstanding. Uh, there's a picture in the background here, which came as a result of me doing the administration for a masterclass for HR directors and chief execs in the NHS. And for me, I was reflecting last night before our interview of what one word would sum up my experience of PublishU, and it would be a masterclass, an absolute
Wow.
masterclass in how to write a book.
Oh, Jean, thank you so much. And what was it practically that helped you on the course to get your book written?
Practically, the structure, that we had a 12-week structure, that the process, we were gradually introduced to an hour a week for 2 weeks, then 6 hours, then the fourth week, the rubber hit the road and it was 10 hours. And so it was that gentle introduction, and the fact that there were, from my background, my background in administration, I'm used to discipline. So the
Yeah,
discipline and the structure worked perfectly for me.
yeah,
The challenge came early on, when we had to start throwing out random thoughts and ideas. And I discovered through the course that I'm a linear thinker. And when I first started putting random thoughts down, you challenged me because I had rows and rows of lines of words. And you said, Jean, can you think out the box? And that was such a breakthrough moment in my life. I'd done lots of things working with women at church, doing actually prayer things, but we're doing it creatively,
yeah.
writing and drawing. And I've got a box here at home with all sorts of colouring pencils and post-its, which I've never used outside of that particular area. And so out came the coloured pencils, out came the the circles and the triangles and everything else. And that has been an absolute breakthrough for me, because I learned to express myself outside of the box.
Yeah.
My life had been disciplined. I'd learned the discipline and the freedom of expression. So it was that challenge, and thank you, Matt, for challenging me. And it's just changed my life, really.
Wow, amazing. And 100 days later, you've got a manuscript, and now it's published globally. You're a globally published author. Jean, how does that feel?
Absolutely wonderful. I mean, I've loved books and reading. My first childhood memory is my dad teaching me to read and write, and reading books like Nip the Dog and Fluff the Cat. And then I went on within the leadership network across Merseyside, the church leadership. I would do book reviews for them. And so I never thought I'd be writing a book myself. So to be where I am today is just, it's beyond a dream. It's the impossible.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to say, the icing on the cake, Matt, for me, was the front cover that Rose designed. She perfectly captured what was on my heart and what I wanted to say to people. And
Yeah.
in just that illustration, she's captured the heart of what was writing about and why I
Wow.
was.
Well, I'll make sure that she watches and listens to this interview, Jean, because that'll be such an encouragement to her, as it is to me. I love it when our authors just have an amazing experience, and we love, we advise our authors, as you know, on the title and then the cover, and they agree it with us, and then we copy edit and proofread their manuscript, and they agree it with us, and then we typeset it for paperback, Kindle, hardback, and maybe even audiobook, and then agree it with us, and then it's globally published. And you've been through that journey, and I love it when people say how good it is, because we're really proud of what we do to help people like you do something they never thought they could do. I mean, it's just so I love it. Sorry, I get excited. So so Jean, coming on to your book, Freedom at Last, what is the heart of your book about, Jean?
In essence, it's to give people hope. There are so many stats about mental health, and you don't really hear too many success stories. You hear the stats, and so my book is really a reflection of my journey, which was a lifelong journey. My faith was the cornerstone, but I've had to process things. I've had to understand things, and so that writing the book to give others hope. What I've done, I've shared my experience, how the difficult situations I've faced, the difficult things that happened in life, I've been able to unpick. And so it's to give people hope. It doesn't define you. A depressive illness doesn't define you. And there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow. And wow, Jean, it sounds like you've been through dark periods in your life.
Oh, extremely. I mean, there was a point where I wanted to end my life, and it was only my faith. I just, prayed and asked God to help, because I was going to end my life. And I said, God, I know I'm committing a sin if I do this, but I can't take any more pain. So I've hit the bottom in depressing thoughts. In a sense, what I realized, things happen, and they can happen in our early years, and we don't have the intellectual structure to make sense of it. And so you have one, it's like if you think about your in tray and your out tray, and your leave it for the time being tray. And so things we understand,
Like that, leave it
into,
for the time being, Trey.
yeah. But what happens, because we develop and grow, if there are things that we haven't been able to make sense of as a child, that too difficult tray gets so big it topples over. And in my case, I ended up having a nervous breakdown.
God.
And so, yeah, so I've been through to the very darkest of dark places, but I always had hope in my heart that I would come through.
Wow. And you write about all these things in your book, Jean?
Yes, and I write from a place of hope, because it's so easy to dwell on the negative thoughts, and we'll never get the other side of them. So it's having hope that, you know, things have gone a bit pear-shaped. In my case, it was very clear that my body chemistry just went askew, and
Yeah.
so medicine helped. But I knew in my heart I'd got to work it out. I had to solve the problems myself. That medicine wouldn't take them away, but it would help me, you know, in the process of working things through.
Wow, Jean, what an incredible story you have. And
Mm,
thank you so much for writing it, so the rest of the world can read it, understand it, and be helped by it. And also, whatever darkness or struggles you might face, always recognizing that there is hope. There is hope for
absolutely.
tomorrow. So,
Yes.
Jean, thank you for writing that. And as we draw to a close, I'd love to ask you, what is your hope for the book you've written? What do you hope it achieves in the world?
Well, two things. One, that people who need that hope will be drawn to the book. And the second thing is that it will open up the conversation about mental health.
Mm,
But yeah, I think there needs to be a wider conversation. So I'm hoping that my book will play a part in that. Certainly, the my general practice, I've asked for a copy of the book. I've honoured them in writing it, because they've been, in a very tiny way, but they've been a part of my journey. And so often, there can be a challenge between faith and medicine, and can they work together? And they most definitely can.
mm,
And so I want to honour the medical profession.
yeah.
And I do want to, because some people can be fearful, um, if they've got faith and they're not too well, that they won't be taken seriously. And so my own practice, I was treated with the utmost respect and value,
Mm.
and they're looking forward to receiving
Yeah,
a
so you reckon
written
doctors are going to get a copy, a signed copy?
signed copy. Yes, they
And
are the unsung heroes.
see, Jean, you hope this brings lots of people hope who are wrestling with dark times and dark moments. Um,
Yes.
is there a point at which actually writing this book actually helped complete something in you about your own journey?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely did, Matt. Because a part of me, I wouldn't want to offend people or say anything that would offend. And my friend, my prayer partner, we do iron sharpens iron with each other. She really challenged me. She said, "Jean, tell the truth. Don't miss things out." And so it's been liberating, because I've been able to share heart. This is me. This is what happened to me. I have no malice in my heart. Bad things happen in life, but there's a good God and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Wonderful. Well, Jean, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Jean, please do visit our website, www.publishu.com, the letter U, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.